Good evening, Mr. President. Here is your briefing on the Middle East. Although Egypt nears its upcoming presidential election, the country remains politically unstable. There is a lot of confusion about the country's transition. Crises abound, and this is causing us difficulty gauging voter sentiment. I am not confident about the outcome of the election. We only have a sketchy history of public polling that is, at best, only in context to Egyptian thought. Be warned, Mr. President, that predictions should be made very carefully. There are some signs, as gathered by our intelligence agencies, that point to a fragmented voter distribution in the first round of voting. There is much we still do not know about the Egyptian electorate and voter behavior. Mr. President, based on recent interviews and meetings with the Egyptian political leaders and commentators, it is clear that a backlash has developed against the Islamist-led parliament. The degree of that backlash is apt to determine whether the crippled former foreign minister of Egypt, Amir Moussa, will become the country's next president. The most logical reference and decision point we have for the Egyptian electorate is the recent parliamentary election. We saw a dominant electorate of Islamist politics. Mr. President, the Muslim Brotherhood's Freedom and Justice Party gathered approximately 43% of the seats of the dominant lower house of parliament. This would couple with a large showing of the more hardline electoral rivals. While the party led by Salafir al-Nour secured about 25% of seats. I think this means Egyptian voters have displayed a very clear preference for Islamist politics. Do you think it would be a mistake to correlate those results to a June 21st election? Can we draw a straight correlation line from those results to June 21st when the Supreme Presidential Electoral Commission will likely announce the winner following a runoff? Two Islamist presidential candidates, Dr. Abdel Monem Abul Futu, who is a moderate Islamist as well as a long-standing member and a noted reformer in the Muslim Brotherhood. Then we have Dr. Mohammed Morsi, the chairman of the FJP and a very legitimate candidate. There are but a handful of candidates, Mr. President. Many things that have happened in recent months that could skew voter allegiance. We all know that very well. Egypt's national campaign can differ significantly from the localized allegiance of a parliamentary contest. Mr. President, I believe the results of Egypt's staggered parliamentary voting should instead be seen as the beginning of political life. All that contributes to the lifestyle and culture of Egypt. This should remain a reflection of mores, patterns, and ideals that represent the end of the Mubarak era. These may not be true glances or predictors into the future. I think they are almost a knee-jerk reaction to the end of President Mubarak and his era. I've been looking at regional trends in Egypt following their utter defeat in the June 1967 war with Israel. With that came a rise of fundamentalist Islam and a revitalization that has not been seen in the Arab world in our modern times. The Muslim Brotherhood was able to maintain unity in the face of multiple cycles of repression. Salafis who have no political opinion or persuasion were able to use social network sites for political gain. Their ability to organize was enhanced by the flavor of Egyptian society. They developed an intense sense of religion that was then reflected outward into public life. Mr. President, formal membership in the Muslim Brotherhood is relatively small and can be counted in probably a few 100,000 if that. Let's be real, in addition to their ability to organize and broadcast ideals that they have soft support nationally. It is clear to me that the Egyptian military is very popular. Egypt's military is one of the most respected and popular institutions in the country. Their credibility is unmatched. Mr. President, do you recall questions about integrity and behavior during the tenure of the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces during Egypt's transitional time? Granted, we have a lot of cooperation since Mubarak's fall. Egypt's military is a force to be reckoned with. In Egypt, they need a strong national military and a powerful Muslim Brotherhood. I cannot see it any other way. Okay, there's your brief.